Hello all and welcome. I hope everybody's sound is working. My name is Meredith. I'm the director of Tufts Center for Engineering Education and Outreach and also the director of the Teacher Engineering Education Program. I know it's a crazy time for folks, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program today, answer any questions you can have so you can start to see if it's a good fit. Let's see if we can make the next slide go. So for those of you who don't know, Tufts University is just outside of Boston here in Medford. We have a great campus thriving with medical school, school of engineering, a school of nutrition. So lots and lots of great collaborators that we get to work with all over here. The Center for Engineering Education and Outreach is part of Tufts School of Engineering. We have a mission of developing engineering-based experiences to make the problem solvers of tomorrow, leveraging research and cutting-edge tools. So we do lots of work in the education research space, studying teaching and learning. We also are developing new tools and technologies for K through college classrooms, and we bring all of that together into programs, workshops, and different resources for practicing educators all over. So I want to tell you a little bit about our philosophy, just so you kind of understand where we're coming from. Kids can is the way we think about our work. That kids can think, invent, discover, change the world. We really take an asset-based perspective on what kids are able to do, right? Kids are budding engineers. We all know that. We think it's our job to figure out how to tap in to what they are interested in and their kind of productive beginnings. So how are they, we know that they want to investigate the world, figure out how things work, build things. So how do we tap into that to help them learn all the things that we know they need to be the problem solvers of tomorrow? We also think of teachers in the same framework, right? Teachers are to learning as doctors are to medicine. So our job here at Tufts is to give you the tools and the resources you need to facilitate learning and create learning environments in your classroom in really productive ways. So a lot of what we'll talk about is how we can help you build that toolbox. And we also think the learning environment is really important. The way we design and construct things with tools, with norms, with resources, all contribute to kids and teachers having a really productive space to do this work in. Now, with the advent of NGSS and folks really paying attention to engineering, right, the conversation has really changed. It's not that we think it's nice for students to know what engineering is and what it's all about, but we think it's necessary. And whether states have formally taken up NGSS, they've definitely influenced the conversation. And there's a lot of great pieces that's afforded us. Lots of trade-offs too. So overall, we come to the point of how do we help teachers to ignite innovation in their classroom? You guys have that next generation of problem solvers. How are we helping you to transform those students into the folks that will tackle all the great challenges we have in front of us? And our solution to that is TEEP, which is the Teacher Engineering Education Program. So CEEO has been in existence for over 20 years, and we took all of the work we did with in-person workshops with teachers, in research, and tried to package it all together into a cohesive program. What you're going to hear about today are flexible courses. They're all asynchronous, so there's no specific time you have to be here. They're all 100% online, and they're designed for practicing educators. So think about folks that are juggling a career, a family, outside obligations, all kinds of things, and really think about how can this kind of a program fit into your lives. You're going to hear about graduate courses that can be used towards not only advancing what's happening in your classroom, but advancing your own career and salary steps. When you hear online learning, you often think about these really massive places where it's thousands of students with one instructor and you're watching video, and it doesn't really sound like the online environment. But what we are going to talk about here is something where we try to recreate what we do in person but online. So you'll have an instructor, you'll have a TA, and the courses, are smaller, so you can really interact. We're trying to get that same interaction that you would have if you came to campus, but from the comfort of your own living room or kitchen. We see a lot of kitchens when folks are working. We have different tracks you'll hear about today. So if you're coming to us as a novice who's just coming into maybe doing this kind of teaching, we have pathways. Or if you've been doing this for a while or you've done a lot of this kind of STEM work before, we have another pathway for you so you can get into doing more higher level engineering work. We practice what we preach. So you're going to hear about hands-on pieces that are all made possible by a kit of materials that's shipped to you. We want to connect to NGSS so folks can do what they need to get done as required. And also, right, we really are excited about this program, right? Just like an in-person program, right? You get to know the folks there. And the folks who do TEEP are really amazing. We're working our 5th cohort through right now. And these are change makers and thought leaders and just really thoughtful, passionate educators, whether they're brand new to engineering or they've been doing it for years and years. The great part about the program, which moves through as a cohort, is that, we really get to build a community of folks who have experiences and resources and are really thoughtful about interacting with one another. So the next slide will show you what does it look like. So we really see this as an 18-month program, right? So it's an investment, right? You are going to take 4 courses, 1 each semester. So you just have 1 course to manage there. The courses are meaty. They're 4 credit hours each one. So that over the 4 semesters, you get 16 credit hours, which is usually helpful for folks in their own personal career advancement or lane changing. There's 2 kinds of courses in TEEP. The blue one there, those are engineering content courses where you are going to be the learner. You are going to put yourself in the engineering learner seat and do engineering as an adult. And we have those segmented so that folks who are newer to it can do the elementary track, and folks that have more experience can do some more challenging projects for them in the middle and high school track. Then we have folks all together for the pedagogy course where they get to really talk about the teaching and learning and student thinking and research that go under all that. So that's how it goes. We follow the traditional Tufts schedule, so it kind of feels like it's a regular course. You just don't have to come here. Now our content courses, right, these are ones we've spent a lot of time thinking about what kind of content is helpful for teachers. So these courses really position you as a learner and an engineer, getting to do projects that are beyond grade level content so that you get the experience of what does it mean to design something as an adult that can be challenging. We ground these in our coursework from our undergraduate engineering work here at Tufts. So, we're depending on which way we're going, we're tailoring it so that folks are really getting concepts that are have disciplinary authenticity. Across all other things, you'll see we take a deep versus wide approach. So rather than trying to hit everything a little bit, we spend time making sure folks get to do topics in depth. They get to feel really confident in what they're learning to do. And they spend time, doing things more than once. Our instructors are really responsive so that, if a concept is, difficult for some students, they spend more time on it. This is where you're doing the hands-on materials. We often use the Lego robotics kit. We've used Arduinos each year yet. Those are part of your lab fee. We ship those out to you, and you use them so that you don't have to go scavenging for most things. There's a few things you need, but you have this toolbox that you can design and engineer from at home. So as an example, the first engineering content course for elementary educators, right, really dives into what is engineering as a discipline. You'll be doing some readings on that, watching video of expert. We talk about some of the new ideas in computational thinking, sense, think, act. We understand the engineering design process, what are constraints and trade-offs, how do we connect to ideas like simple machines, and all the while doing different projects. So doing everything from a penny lifter to the final project of designing and building a fully robotic fish feeder. which may sound, if you're new, may sound a little intimidating, but we guide you through the whole thing. So it's really scaffolded, and you have lots and lots of opportunities for help. So that's what kind of our content strand looks like. On the other side, and for our upper folks, right, they are more challenging ones. So they might start to get into control theory or use some more complicated tools and design different kinds of projects. On the pedagogy side, we want to make sure that folks who leave the TEEP program are informed consumers, classroom designers, and agents of social justice. So the TEEP program does not use any particular engineering curriculum, but we talk about what are the things you're looking for if you are going to be the one who needs to purchase one, or you're looking for different activities that are free out there. Or if you're going to design your own, how do you understand, what kinds of structures and techniques support student learning? We look at research and policy around this with progressive teaching practices. We do a lot with student thinking, right? If you follow our analogy that teachers are to learning as doctors are to medicine, doctors spend a lot of time on rounds and residencies, and we spend a lot of time with student thinking. Some of that's through video we have from our projects here at Tufts. We ask you to record a bit with your students and do some interviews with them so that we can really dig into how do students think about these ideas. This is where NGSS comes in a little bit more, where we connect what's happening there and talk about how those kinds of structures and standards influence what we do. And this is probably, while we do discussion across all our classes, this is where our students really get to, trade ideas and positions and experience with the other folks in the cohort. This is the one course I am teaching right now, right? And then in the fall, we do the follow-up, which focuses much more on the techniques for working with students. So this ENE 130, it's happening right now for the cohort. They're reading all kinds of great articles. We've read about students thinking about gears, novice versus informed designers. We're looking at different things like design thinking, building empathy, designing with human-centered design processes, looking at what different students with different backgrounds bring to the table in engineering. Throughout this course, we're looking at video of folks doing this as well to really analyze and think about, and then some of our own. So this course culminates with, looking at a small group of students engaging in a design challenge. And all our courses are really responsive. So we are working in different ways with folks. Some folks have access to students. Some folks have, access to students in an after-school program. Some folks have even, because of different requirements and restrictions, used, their own children, neighbors, nieces, nephews. There's all kinds of ways to participate. So we really are excited to help people do this. I'll give you a little bit of peek of the online learning environment. Tufts uses Canvas, which is a learning management system. It's really straightforward. I know at this point, right, we have a lot of different folks. Some folks have done a lot of online learning. Some folks are new to it. It's pretty straightforward. There's videos to watch. There's places to just upload some information each week. Each course, whether it's content or pedagogy, kind of has three components. There's a reading component, a lab component, and a community component. So in the reading component, right, you're reading articles and kind of responding to them. In the content course, that might be diving into what engineering is, reading some authors who write a lot about what it means to be an engineer, what kinds of ideas and content are there. In the pedagogy, right, that's much more about research and then moving on to like what are particular talk moves and other structures that go with there. And what we see over here on the left is just a typical thing, like, oh, here was the prompt, and here is one of our students' responses. The lab, right, we want you to get your hands on no matter what you're doing. So in the content courses, right, that looks like structured projects. And that's one of our fish feeders designed there that dispenses small pieces into a bowl. You upload videos of your working design. In our that for our fish feeder for our elementary folks, control systems for our more advanced folks. In our pedagogy, you can see that down at the bottom. That's a video system we use where you can actually make comments on the exact moment that you see something. So that's a group of students talking about how they thought a car moved, And we could actually analyze it. What do you think they mean? It doesn't matter what shape it is. It just has to have wheels, right? And then breaking that up. So lots of that. And we also look at lesson plans and case studies from our own kind of teaching and learning. A big part of all the courses is kind of interaction. So whether it's a lab or a reading, you're looking at other students' responses, right? So that we can get that experience that we would have if we were in class talking about things, but online. So you're reading their responses, saying, oh, I really agree with that. I don't really agree with that. And looking at that. Likewise with the online, right? You're looking at someone else's videos, like, oh, I see you interviewed this kid, and I think that's his idea. So that's another part. So folks are not necessarily just uploading your stuff and backing away, but you're really participating in a community. So that's the overview, right? The 4 classes, 2 content, 2 pedagogy, completely online, a pretty straightforward system to do all those pieces. I have folks always say, you know, like, how big a time commitment is it? I'm like, they're 4 credit hour classes. So, you know, that's a healthy course. So if it's the busiest season of your life, online learning makes it more convenient, but it doesn't give you more time because we're still doing all the same learning goals and objectives. You just have a lot more flexibility about when and where you do those things. So to become part of the TEEP program, the requirement for admission is you just have a bachelor's degree, right? It's a graduate level certificate. We ask that folks have at least 1 year of teaching experience so that you're bringing something here. That can be all kinds of teaching experience. We certainly have a lot of traditional school-based educators, but we've also had folks in the informal space, in the administrative space, just amazingly passionate volunteers in the out-of-school space. So something where you're actually working with kids so that 1, you know, that makes the assignments a lot easier, and 2, so that you're, you know, kind of able to situate this within there. The admissions materials are all pretty standard. You need to have transcripts, really 1 letter of recommendation and a personal statement. So those are kind of the minimums that Tufts has. We have sectioned admissions. So up on the website, there's dates for when the next round comes, and we do rolling admissions till July 30th. So if we have space, we are trying to get people in all the way to the last minute because we know that folks are busy and sometimes you can't figure out what's happening there. There are no GRE scores required. So, you know, this is just to kind of validate that you have a bachelor's degree and that you are interested in the program. Now, the all-important piece, of course, how much does it cost? Tufts is really committed to trying to make this kind of work accessible to in-service teachers. So each course is $1,000. So that's for 4 credits, $1,000. So right, we're at it just under $300 per credit, which is you know, very comparable to many other institutions. It is not the price of what a normal Tufts course costs, but this is a special arrangement we have for all the great work our in-service folks are doing. Each of our content courses have a lab fee, so that just covers having the materials shipped to you. And we really, really try and keep course costs down. So there's minimal additional materials and texts each semester. So, you know, in the fish feeder, you need some pennies for one of the testing assignments. You need some folks, you know, cut up a piece of Tupperware for the to make their dispenser. So, you know, some of those small things that it doesn't make sense to ship folks, or folks might have different needs. You know, courses might use a textbook off of Amazon. We've used Makers before by Chris Anderson. We've used a few others. So there's not an expensive textbook, and instructors are always trying to minimize that cost. It's billed over each of the 4 semesters. So prior to starting that semester, you're paying for that course. So it's not upfront. So it's $4,200 for the full certificate plus the $85 application fee. Now you can take one of the courses if you're not ready to commit to the whole 4-course sequence. You can take the courses individually, and there's individual registration for that. It has a separate registration fee, and folks can do that. If you start taking the courses and you love them, then you have to officially enroll in. That's just how graduate certificates work. but you can take up to 2 individually, and those are open a little later in August for registration. One little note here is for our international folks. We don't ship materials internationally, so for the given lab fee, so those folks who are outside the US either need to pay an additional fee, or we often work with folks to waive the fee and have you purchase your own materials to keep. So that is a bit about TEEP. So I will stop sharing my screen here. And there we go. And see if anybody has any questions. It's usually easiest to type them in the chat, and I will answer them, revoice them, and let folks know what's there. I'll also say that you can always email us at teep@tufts.edu. When do courses start? If you join us in the middle, courses follow the traditional Tufts calendar. So we start a little bit after Labor Day and go to right before Christmas. We start right around Martin Luther King Day in the spring and go to the beginning of May. We are doing a summer session, so that goes from usually right before Memorial Day to the beginning of August, and then one more time in the fall. So, we're trying to follow typical 13-week schedules. Do you still offer the novel engineering course? Yes, that's not part of TEEP. However, we do also offer ENE 120, which is novel engineering, which is integrating engineering and literacy. So that's a great course, kind of stands by itself, but we are planning on offering that for fall 2020. Which will go through, some of the theory and then help you design and get to know novel engineering in the classroom, how to read books with your students, as well as how to turn them into engineering projects. Other questions? Oh, so the single engineering course, usually they let us start registering folks in June. Full disclosure, right? Tufts is, dealing with, the health issues that are happening in Massachusetts. So we don't have all our dates. But usually we have a way you can pre-register, and I can send you that for the way we can keep you on our mailing list. And then it'll open up for fall, probably in June, when we open single course registration for the fall. And that one, has a great number of spaces, but definitely sign up early to make sure you get your spot. Another question is, how much work is TEEP? I try and tell people, to prepare for some work, but there is a lot of flexibility. We work really hard to make sure that folks have the ability to kind of adjust their schedule. So instructors are super flexible about deadlines and dates. If you tell them in advance, this is the week I'm getting observed. This is the week, that I have to do something for my personal life, take care of a family member who's having surgery, etc. We try and make sure that you can make those adjustments. But we do have weekly deadlines because we found that, unless people are kind of keeping up with a course, really easy for it to kind of get out of, not be able to catch up. So and they're 4 credit hour courses, so that's there. The novel engineering course is actually 3 credit hours, so it's a little bit lighter of a requirement. They're all 100% online. Yep. So Tufts CEEO also offers in-person things for folks who are in the Boston area, summer workshops, etc. But all of the TEEP courses and the ENE 120 are all online and have no requirement to come to Tufts. Although if you're ever in the area, we love to see folks and meet folks. We're super disappointed that we don't get to meet. We were going to get to meet a lot of our folks at NSTA this year, but for good reasons, that won't happen. Other questions? I will say that the cohort part has been the most exciting part. part in terms of we have a lot of really great folks there. We've kept in touch with them. I think I'm still in touch with a bunch of folks from our first cohort, really hearing exciting things they're doing. Some of them are doing innovative things in their classroom. Some of them have gone on to leadership positions in their school or district. Some of them have taken on new roles in different STEM organizations. So it's really, I can tell you about the parts that we do, but the other part that's really exciting is the folks that apply and come to TEEP are really exciting and doing really great things in this space. Makes you feel like really excited about teaching and learning because they're folks that are trying new things and really figuring this out. Would it be manageable, the program, along with National Teachers Board? So I haven't done those two things together. I mean, folks are saying generally, right, it's a 4 credit hour course, so you're spending 7 to 10 hours, depending on how fast you read and other pieces each week. So you just have to think about the balance of your life and where that would fit. Typically, we post courses on Friday, and Friday will have all the work for that week. We try and post things as much ahead as we can so that folks can get ahead in different places. So we'll post the readings for a week or so ahead and help folks out. I just typically say if it's the busiest season of your life, it's, and you can't imagine taking a physical in-person course, this will only be like this much easier because it still is a commitment. But, if you're looking, if you need some flexibility, right? You don't want to commit to a Wednesday night course because sometimes, you have other, personal or family commitments. Online learning is really great for that. Because you can change when you're going to work on things, and you can, you can do it, while also supporting other activities. I've gotten video students who listen to our podcast during their weekly nail appointment. I've gotten pictures snapped of teachers working on stuff while sitting at a child's soccer game. That is the flexibility and beauty of online learning, but you still have to have that time. So hopefully that helps folks kind of make sense of that. And there's the full 4 courses, but you can always sign up. If you're really nervous and you don't want to make that commitment, you can sign up for the first course in the sequence. And then if it makes sense, keep going along with the cohort and apply after the first course to join us for the full program. Any other questions? I know you guys are probably all busy and have lots to manage. Great. Well, hopefully I was clear. We'd love to see you. If you have any questions, please email. teep@tufts.edu is the best one that goes to everybody, so that if whoever on my team, my program administrator, McGee, who you get to know, or one of my other instructors can help you. I'm also always happy to chat if folks need to. Some folks who teach 6th grade aren't quite sure whether they should be in the elementary track or the middle school track, and we can certainly talk about that. It's a small program that happens to be online. We think of you guys who join us in TEEP as really being part of our, student group. We have, graduate students who are part of our center and our work who sit here, and you guys just happen to be out in the real world doing the important work of teaching. So we're always trying to support. There's always somebody to answer the phone. It's really a cool cohort of folks on both sides, the folks that join us as well as the team here at Tufts that supports you. So if you come up with anything else, please let us know. And other than that, I'm going to sign off the video. I'll hang out in the chat for a few more minutes. Sometimes people are more comfortable over chat. Other than that, please all stay safe, stay healthy. We're thinking of all of you who are in schools managing this health crisis and students' fears and worries. You're doing such important work. So take care of yourselves, and anything else, please let us know. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.